The movie begins in a beautiful city in France. An attractive woman named Elise is a former agent that the French police have been keeping tabs on for some time. She has been missing for a year after being associated with a notorious criminal named Alexander Pierce, who is wanted for money laundering. She goes on a mission to catch Pierce but suddenly disappears and becomes his lover. Since her sudden appearance in France, the police closely monitor her every movement for any suspicious activity that will lead them to Pierce. Elise is aware of her surroundings but remains calm despite the police constantly following her. She orders food in a cafe while two other men closely watch her. A mailman approaches her and gives her a mysterious letter from Pierce. The police are alarmed as this is an unusual routine, and they quickly take action and arrest the courier, assuming he is Pierce. The letter instructs Elise to ride a train at an exact time and to pick a man with the same build as Pierce to mislead the police. When Elise finishes reading the letter, she burns it to hide the evidence. When Inspector John Atchison, the head of the operation, sees this, he realizes it's from Pierce and orders his men to save the letter and follow her immediately. As Elise leaves the area, another mysterious man follows after her who isn't a cop. She heads to the train station, where she cleverly times the exact arrival of the crowd departing from the train. The police lose her trail as the people slow them down, and Elise successfully escapes. Atchison reports to Chief Inspector Jones that Pierce has undergone plastic surgery to acquire a new face as he wired a large sum of money to a surgeon from a Swiss bank account. Jones finds it somewhat perplexing as insufficient evidence to prove his claim. He then evaluates the courier's profile, whom Atchison assumes to be the new face of Pierce. But the profile reveals they got the wrong person. Jones mocks Atchison for his mistake and threatens to terminate the operation since it has already cost him a lot of money. A specialist restores the ashes of the letter to find out its content. It reveals the location of Elise's destination, and they quickly respond. Elise scans the men inside the train as she searches for a potential decoy to frame as Pierce to mislead the police. She is drawn to Frank, an American tourist, and sits with him. Her beauty instantly smites Frank, and he finds it hard to speak. He then smokes and asks if it bothers her. He tells her it's an electronic cigarette with the same amount of nicotine, but the smoke is water vapor. She responds with a disappointed tone that she prefers men to do as they please. They continue to engage in a casual conversation until she demands him to invite her for dinner. At dinner, Elise tries to guess Frank's job and is surprised to know he is a math teacher. They get along quite well as they spend more time getting to know each other. On the other hand, two undercover cops spy on them a few seats away and take a picture of Frank. They send it to Atchison, and he gives the picture to a forensic specialist to find his identification data, which will prove whether he is Pierce or not. Atchison confidently believes it's him and immediately sends copies of Frank's picture to his men at the station. He instructs them to arrest him once he gets off the train. Frank suspects they are being watched, but Elise dismisses it, saying he is just paranoid. As the train nears its destination, she bids her farewell, and he sadly leaves her, hoping she will ask him to stay. Once Frank's background check is complete, it confirms him to be an American tourist with a clean history. This frustrates Atchison as he is again at a dead end. He then prompts his men to cancel their mission. Back at the office, an employee appears to be a spy of Shaw, a big-time gangster Pierce stole from, and he reports the arrival of Pierce with Elise in Venice. This piece of information prompts Shaw to change his destination. When Frank arrives in Venice, Elise suddenly appears and invites him to join her. He hesitantly joined her as he thought they would never meet again. They check in as a married couple and stay at a grand suite prepared by Pierce, and we see the mysterious man from France at the hotel. Once inside, Elise enters the bedroom and sees a closet, where she finds expensive gifts from Pierce, which she greatly appreciates. As Frank scans the room, he sees Elise in the mirror and instantly knows someone arranged everything, especially for her. Upon Shaw's arrival, he orders his men to monitor 3 grand hotels in Venice and keep Pierce alive until they get his money. That night, Elise dresses up for dinner, and Frank seems stunned by her ravishing appearance. After ordering food, Frank asks Elise who her man is, as it is unusual for a hotel to leave gifts. Elise shares that she hopes to meet Pierce in Venice but is torn since they haven't talked for 2 years. When they return to the suite, Frank makes them a refreshing drink. He notices a bouquet with a letter on it. Elise learns it's an invitation from Pierce to a ball 2 days from now. She then goes to the balcony for fresh air and notices a suspicious man pretending to chill on a boat. Frank follows after her and pays her a compliment. Suddenly, she kisses him but leaves him hanging for the night. The following day, Frank wakes up for breakfast, arranged by Elise. He is confused to find her gone without a word. Out of nowhere, Shaw's men break in, thinking he is Pierce, and they violently attempt to kidnap him. Luckily, he escapes through the window and crosses the roof, where Elise sees him. Atchison's men notice Frank's dangerous situation and prepare to intervene. They report the incident to Atchison, but he orders them to ignore him since he is not their problem. Frank desperately escapes by jumping from the balcony and accidentally pushes an Italian officer to the river. Because of this, the officers arrest him for assault and causing a scene in a public market. At the police station, a detective misinterpreted Frank's situation and detained him overnight. Suddenly, the detective takes him out of the cell and hands him over to Shaw's men in exchange for money, as he is assumed to be Pierce. Fortunately, Elise comes to the rescue, and they discreetly depart together. The men catch up to them and get into a dangerous chase, but they eventually manage to escape. Elise explains that their kiss made him a target, and she apologizes for involving Frank. She finally reveals the reason why everyone seems to be after Pierce. He used to be Shaw's private banker until he stole from him. In addition to this, he is also wanted by the British government for tax evasion. Frank then declares his love for her by telling her he doesn't regret kissing her. This surprises Elise, ultimately leading her to stop involving Frank. When they reach the airport in the morning, Elise tells Frank to tie the boat to the port, but she unties it from her end, tells him she wishes they had met in another life, and bids him goodbye. She departs and leaves Frank confused with a bag of money for his flight back to America. She then heads to meet Atchison, which reveals her true identity as a British spy, supposedly working undercover to capture Pierce. She failed the mission because she fell in love with Pierce. But now, she is ready to work with the government again to find Pierce, as she does not want to put anyone in danger. The following day, Elise attends the ball that Pierce invited him to. This time, she wears a wiretap as she cooperates with Atchison to catch Pierce. Suddenly, an attractive man approached her, and they thought it was him for a minute. But when they checked his background, he was just a random rich guy interested in Elise, and she turned him down. The mysterious man from France appears again and leaves a letter on Elise's table. She follows him, thinking he is Pierce, but loses track of the man when Frank suddenly shows up. He offers her to dance and insists on not leaving without her. Elise tries to convince him that he is just a pawn and was useful for a while, but he is no longer needed. When she separates from him, Atchison's men take him out to stop him from intervening further in the mission. Once Frank is out of sight, she opens the letter with a key inside and instructions to go to a specific address. Atchison panicked when she didn't reveal what was in the letter. As Elise prepares to leave, he suspects she is switching sides, but she eventually gives him the letter's address. Atchison immediately alerts the snipers to prepare while he follows Elise. Unknown to them, Shaw is also tracking Elise to capture Pierce and quietly follows behind. At the police boat, Atchison holds Frank in custody and toys with him for a while. He accuses him of Pierce, who acquired a new face, and demands the payment of his back taxes, which amounts to €744 million. The accusation shocks Frank and keeps him on edge, but Atchison eventually reveals that he was just playing with him and declares him a moron for almost ruining his operation. He tells him that he will stay with them until the operation ends. Elise arrives at the address and enters a building. Shaw catches up to her and pressures her to tell him where the safe is. He threatens her with a knife, and the snipers prepare to engage if they are ordered to intervene. Atchison and his men watch them on the monitor, awaiting any movement from Pierce to save her. Elise puts herself in imminent danger when she consistently denies knowing the location of the safe. The police interpreter tells Atchison that Shaw will kill her if Pierce fails to show up. This alarms Frank and he pleads that they help her, but Atchison reveals that she is a capable agent and that he is confident Elise will save herself before things get worse. When Shaw is about to kill her, she finally gives up and reveals where the safe is. Shaw opens the wall and finds the safe that requires a passcode. Suddenly, the sniper reports movement in the courtyard, which Atchison assumes to be Pierce. But soon realizes it is actually Frank, as he managed to escape. He climbs on the balcony and enters the building where Elise is. Shaw forces Elise to guess the code but fails to unlock it. Frank randomly appears on the scene and claims to be Pierce, but Elise denies it. Shaw approaches him and mentions a few distinct features of Pierce, all of which Frank claims he has done. Primarily pointing out his changed accent, this prompts him to speak in a British accent to confirm his identity. Shaw is confused, but decides that the only way to find out is for him to unlock the safe. As Frank approaches it, Elise tells him she loves him as she already expects the worst to come. The snipers anticipate the order to fire as they witness the imminent threat they are in, but Atchison holds the command expecting Pierce to show up anytime soon, but Jones takes over and signals them. Immediately, all snipers shoot the enemies, killing them on the spot. The police rush to the scene, and Jones officially terminates Elise as an agent. A man on the radio informs them that they found Pierce near the location, and they immediately rush to him. Once the two are alone, Frank reveals his true identity by unlocking the safe, proving he is Alexander Pierce. Much to Elise's amazement. When the police get to the man they suspect to be Pierce, he exposes the truth by informing them that he is getting paid by an unknown sender to go to specific places. Upon the police's return to the safe, they discover a check for the money Pierce owed to the British government. Jones concludes the operation, but Atchison argues that Pierce remains a wanted criminal in 14 countries. Jones insists that the man who wants Pierce is dead and that there is no point in pursuing him further. Atchison is left dumbfounded at the twist of events. He then goes to the balcony and strangely finds the two enjoying a boat ride. Elise mocks Pierce by telling him that he spent $24 million for an average-looking face, and concludes that his new face will do. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.